Well, France 24's culture editor Olivia Salazar-Winspear joins me on set now with the latest from the world of music. Olivia, we're starting with something that has been all over the news, including here on France 24. The wait is over. Taylor Swift releasing her latest album today. What can you tell us?
Swifties rejoice. They've been waiting for weeks. This record, The Life of a Showgirl, has finally come out. And after breaking most records in the music industry, here's another one for you. She had the first album to exceed 5 million pre-saves on Spotify's countdown page. That was before you could even listen to it. Now, it's the 12th album, and it comes in a very modest 12 tracks after the 16 and 31 of the previous record in its full anthology version. For the moment, she's not released any official music videos. You can see the fans there absolutely desperate to get their hands on it. The music videos will be happening at the weekend. There's a special release party event that's happening in cinemas around the world to screen a film that includes behind-the-scenes footage of the making of this album. It's happening in France as well. But in the US, they're already forecasting $30 to $50 million at the box office for that film. So obviously, to the music, what does the record sound like? Well, as far as I've heard, it's no great departure from her brand, which is bouncy, cheeky pop music. Though you can take a lesson. Here's a feel for it.
Thank you for the lovely bouquet. I'm married to the hustle, and now I know the life of a showgirl, babe. And I'll never know another pain hidden by the lipstick and lace. Sequins are forever, and now I know the life of a showgirl, babe. Wouldn't have it any other way.
So as you can see there, no official videos yet, but on that track, which is the title track of the album, The Life of a Showgirl, she brought in someone who people see as her pop successor, Sabrina Carpenter. She features on that song. And as always, there's plenty of Easter eggs for her fans, nods to her personal life, romance, her professional victories and her rivalries. She settles some scores. And for the production, she's gone back to a winning formula with the Swedish producers Max Martin and Shellback, who she worked with on the hugely successful 1989 and Reputation albums. Now, I mentioned Sabrina Carpenter. She was the support act on the Eras tour, which you'll remember broke almost every record out there. It generated more than $2 billion overall and drew an average of 67,000 people to each concert. It left a very big impression on the music industry and clearly on Taylor Swift as well. She said this latest album is about that chapter of her life.
All right, turning next, Olivia. Jane Fonda is back at it, 87 years old, but she's just as committed to activism as ever. She's known, of course, for taking a stand on things like environmental issues, civil liberties. What's she focusing on now?
Well, Jane Fonda has just relaunched a project that was initially spearheaded by her father, Henry Fonda, in the McCarthy era, which is called the Committee for the First Amendment. Now, the idea is to defend free speech in 2025, as her father wanted to do in 1947. She shared the news on her social media with the committee, saying the federal government is once again engaged in a coordinated campaign to silence critics in the government, the media, the judiciary, academia, and the entertainment industry, of course, her patch. We refuse to stand by and let that happen. Now, in a matter of hours, she got backing from hugely well-known Hollywood people, certainly around 600 people, including Natalie Portman, Spike Lee, Barbara Streisand, Whoopi Goldberg, Sean Penn. We know that Jane Fonda, of course, is not afraid of getting in trouble. She's been arrested in the past for her climate activism on gender justice marches. She's made her position on the US administration at the moment quite clear. So it does look like she's following in the footsteps of her father, who was an outspoken critic of the witch hunts in Hollywood in the 1940s and 50s during the time of what we know as the Red Scare, and she looks to be taking on the flame for this generation.
Like father, like daughter, then, Olivia. We're going to change gears again. Another week, another film festival here in France, this time the focus on British and Irish cinema. Tell us more.
Yes, and it takes place in probably the most British or Irish landscape you can find in France, which is in Brittany, in the seaside town of Dinard. They've got a great range of films programmed this year. They've got social horror, romance, documentaries, all sorts of things. France 24's Eve Jackson is in Dinard checking out the selection. Here's more from her and some of the stars there.
For 35 years, the Dinard Festival of British and Irish Film has been a launch pad of independent gems that go on to make it big on the world stage. Now, 20,000 movie lovers are expected at this edition. A record number of tickets have been sold. The event opens with My Mother's Wedding. This is the directorial debut of bilingual British-French actress Kristen Scott-Thomas, best known, of course, for films like The English Patient and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. She also stars in the drama alongside Scarlett Johansson, Sienna Miller and Emily Beecham.
In my entire career by this story of my so-called tragic childhood, and I wanted to tell my version of this so-called tragic childhood and how it's influenced, how it can influence sort of childhood disaster can influence what happens to you in your life. And so I wanted to talk about the memories that I have of being told that my father had been killed, and then being told very few years later, that my stepfather had been killed in very similar circumstances.
Over 5 days, festival goers will discover more than 50 films, from spine-tingling horror to moving biopics and social dramas. Highlights include My Father's Shadow, that's set in Lagos during Nigeria's 1993 elections. There's also a movie called The Thing with Feathers that stars Benedict Cumberbatch, and there's a Welsh biopic about Richard Burton. Now, Dinard, it might be small, but once again, it's proving a big stage for British and Irish film.
So if you're a fan of British and Irish cinema, you can get more in our special show on Arts 24 next week, and you can catch the full segment with Eve on today's show on our website.